On a calm and sunny morning, Emily stepped into her garden as she always did. At 62, she found joy in the routine of tending to her flowers and planting new seeds. With a watering can in one hand and a small spade in the other, she moved across the soil, oblivious to the life-altering discovery she was about to make. The garden had always been her sanctuary, a peaceful patch of land she and her husband Nathan had cultivated over the years. But on that particular morning, as the water dampened the earth beneath her blooming roses, Emily noticed something unusual. A sharp glint of metal protruded slightly from the soil, contrasting harshly with the soft, rich earth. She crouched down, furrowing her brows, and muttered to herself, "That wasn't there yesterday." Curious, she put her spade to work, scraping gently around the object. But what began as a minor curiosity soon turned into a chilling realization. The more she dug, the larger the metal object appeared. Her pulse quickened. This was no forgotten garden tool or pipe. She called out for Nathan, her voice shaky, and within minutes, her husband emerged from the shed with a full-sized shovel in hand. For 2 exhausting hours, the couple unearthed the mystery. As the soil gave way, the image became clear. It was a car, old, rusted, and buried deliberately beneath their rose garden. Nathan, now visibly disturbed, knelt beside it and examined its make and model, mumbling that it looked like something from the 1960s. His usual calm demeanor shifted into something more jittery. When Emily tried to approach the wreck with him, he snapped. "No, Emily, stay back. This might not be safe," he said, flailing his arms as if to push her away without touching her. The sudden shift in behavior left Emily baffled. Her husband wasn't the type to panic, not over old junk and certainly not over something they found in their own yard. But, trusting his instincts, she took a few steps back and watched him work, unsettled but still unsure of what they were truly dealing with. Once Nathan had concluded his inspection, he guided her back inside the house and said he needed to make a quick call. Emily assumed he was contacting an expert. However, his tone and the erratic pacing in the kitchen told a different story. She sat silently in the living room, straining to hear snippets of the conversation from behind the closed door. Nathan's voice was sharp, urgent, and intimate. This wasn't how one spoke to a stranger. Her gut twisted with anxiety. She pressed her ear against the door, catching nothing but fragments of a frantic exchange. When he finally emerged, Emily was ready with questions, but he stonewalled her. "Who did you call?" she asked. Nathan didn't answer. He wouldn't even look at her. When pressed, he erupted in a rare display of anger. "It's none of your business, Emily. Just stay out of it." He then forbade her from going near the buried car, offering no further explanation. Confused and deeply hurt, Emily let the issue go for the night. They went to bed without a word, lying back to back in silence. She stared at the ceiling, her thoughts racing, until eventually sleep overtook her restless mind. But the next morning, she awoke to a cold bed. Nathan's side was empty. Panic rushed in as she threw on her robe and rushed downstairs. She heard movement outside and, through the front door, saw Nathan hurriedly loading bags into their car. She opened the door to confront him, but the moment he spotted her, Nathan slammed the trunk shut, got into the driver's seat, and sped off without a single word. Tires screeched as he disappeared down the road. Emily screamed after him, begging for an explanation, but her cries were swallowed by the distance. She tried calling him again and again, but he wouldn't pick up. Something had clearly happened. Something terrifying enough to make her husband of decades vanish without a goodbye. Desperate for answers, Emily went to the very spot Nathan had warned her away from, the buried car. She approached it hesitantly, her heart thudding in her chest. As she circled the wreck, she noticed something new. Beneath the steering wheel, there was a hole in the ground, narrow but deep, like someone had dug straight down during the night. That hole hadn't been there the day before. Had Nathan dug it? Had he found something? And was that why he left? Her mind spun with questions, each more alarming than the last. Confused and defeated, she returned to the house, only to find a letter resting on the dining table. Her hands trembled as she opened it, immediately recognizing Nathan's messy handwriting. The note was short but gut-wrenching. Nathan apologized for leaving so suddenly, admitting he wasn't coming back. He told her he still loved her deeply but insisted he had to go, not for himself but for her safety. He couldn't explain why, not even in writing. Emily crumbled into her chair, clutching the letter as tears streamed down her face. Her thoughts were consumed by the fear in Nathan's eyes, the secrecy, the phone call, the buried car. She needed answers, and she knew exactly where to start. She remembered the phone call Nathan had made. He wasn't good with technology, and she realized he'd used the landline. That meant there would be a record of the call. She raced to the device and checked the caller ID. The name that flashed on the screen made her heart skip. Luke. Nathan's old friend, his co-worker, his trusted companion during their years at the garage. The two had spent decades restoring vintage vehicles. If Nathan had confided in anyone, it would be Luke. Without hesitation, Emily borrowed her neighbor's car and drove across town to Luke's home. The old man was clearly shocked to see her standing on his doorstep, disheveled and intense. Before he could even invite her in, Emily pushed past him and stormed into the hallway. She demanded answers. "I know Nathan called you. I know it's about that car. Tell me what's going on," she said, her voice breaking with frustration and pain. Luke looked stunned, and for a moment, it seemed like he might lie. But Emily's fierce glare left no room for deception. Finally, he sighed and motioned for her to sit down. He admitted that yes, Nathan had called him in a panic after discovering the car. But what Luke shared next turned Emily's stomach. Decades ago, when Nathan and Luke were still young men trying to make a name in car restoration, they got involved with a client who turned out to be dangerous. This client had given them a classic car to refurbish, one that had apparently been used in a serious crime, though Nathan didn't know it at the time. When the truth came out, the client disappeared and the car vanished soon after. Nathan thought it had been destroyed, but now, somehow, impossibly, it had resurfaced, and it was buried in their garden. Nathan was terrified not just because of what the car represented, but because he knew that if it had reappeared, someone had put it there deliberately. Someone was sending a message. Luke told Emily that her husband feared they were being watched, and that whoever had buried that car wasn't finished with them. Nathan hadn't told her the truth to protect her, from a past he'd buried long ago and from the danger that had now found its way back to their doorstep. Emily sat in stunned silence, the weight of the past crashing down on her. Her husband hadn't run from her. He had run for her. And now she had a decision to make: live in fear and confusion, or uncover the full truth no matter where it led. One thing was certain: her quiet garden would never feel the same again.